Have you ever wondered why your habits, even the most private ones, begin to feel different as you move past your 40s? Many people assume that changes in their energy, recovery, or sexual health are simply aging. But in truth, what's happening inside your body is far more fascinating and much more within your control than you might think. Masturbation is one of those topics that's often shrouded in myths, guilt, or silence. Some are told it is harmful, others are told it's entirely meaningless. The reality is more nuanced. When you are over 45, your body is experiencing profound changes. Hormones shift, sleep patterns evolve, muscle recovery slows, and the nervous system becomes more sensitive to both stress and nourishment. In this stage of life, self-pleasure is not just about release, it interacts directly with your prostate health, cardiovascular system, hormone balance, and even your brain's wiring. Here's the empowering truth. Your body is designed to heal itself. It has built-in mechanisms to regulate hormones, repair tissues, and keep your brain sharp. But the way you care for yourself, including how you approach masturbation, can either support or disrupt those natural rhythms. For example, ejaculation frequency influences prostate health, dopamine signaling, and even nighttime recovery. These are not small details, they are part of how your body maintains balance as you age. Yet, mainstream advice rarely connects the dots. You might hear warnings about testosterone dropping or be told that self-pleasure is always safe. But very few discussions look at what actually happens in your nervous system, your sleep cycles, or your nutrient needs when you are over 45. That's what we're going to uncover together. In this video, I'll share 6 science-based insights that can reshape how you think about masturbation and aging. We'll talk about how your brain rewires with dopamine, why your prostate responds to frequency, how nutrient timing supports recovery, and what daily practices can help you feel more energized and less depleted after intimacy. If you care about sleeping deeper, healing faster, and aging with energy, make sure to watch until the end and subscribe so you don't miss the natural wisdom your body is craving. When we talk about sexual health, many people assume it's all about testosterone. But in truth, one of the most powerful forces shaping your experience with masturbation, especially after 45, is dopamine. Dopamine is a neurotransmitter often called the motivation molecule because it governs not just pleasure, but focus, drive, and even how you learn. Here's the fascinating part. When you're younger, in your 20s and 30s, your brain has a much wider margin of error. Dopamine surges are buffered by youthful receptor sensitivity and faster recovery, but as you age, those receptors change. After 45, dopamine receptors in the brain become less numerous and more sensitive. This means the same habit that once felt harmless can now create different effects on your mood, your energy, and even your sleep. Think of dopamine like a currency. Every time you experience pleasure, whether it's food, a new experience, or masturbation, you're spending from that currency. The body is designed to replenish it through rest, nutrition, sunlight, and deep sleep. But when dopamine is spent too frequently without enough recovery, your brain's motivation pathways can become dull. That's why some men notice feeling unmotivated, foggy, or restless after a pattern of frequent ejaculation. It's not moral, it's physiological. Research on dopamine pathways shows that when there is constant stimulation, the brain temporarily reduces its receptor sensitivity. This is a protective mechanism, much like dimming the volume on a radio that's playing too loudly. The result? Pleasure feels flatter, and motivation for everyday activities like exercise, work, or even social connection can dip for men over 45. This becomes more noticeable because your nervous system no longer bounces back overnight the way it used to. But here's the empowering side. You don't need to fight your body. You just need to understand it. When you give dopamine its natural rhythm of rise and recovery, your brain works more efficiently and you actually enjoy intimacy more, not less. For example, spacing out ejaculation with recovery days filled with nutrient-dense meals, exercise, and quality sleep allows dopamine to reset. This creates more balanced energy and motivation. So, what can you do in practical terms? One powerful protocol is to align self-pleasure with your body's natural recovery rhythms. If you notice fatigue or brain fog the next day, extend the time between sessions and observe how your motivation changes. A good rule of thumb after 45 is moderation. Think of 2 to 3 times per week as a balanced rhythm for most men, though this can vary depending on your overall health. Another simple but effective strategy is nutritional support for dopamine. Your body builds dopamine from the amino acid tyrosine, found in foods like pumpkin seeds, almonds, eggs, and lentils. Pairing these foods with magnesium-rich vegetables like spinach or pumpkin can further support the enzymes that regulate dopamine synthesis. Even timing your meals helps. Eating a protein-rich breakfast can set up a more stable dopamine response throughout the day. Finally, lifestyle habits matter deeply. Morning sunlight exposure, regular exercise, and minimizing late-night screen use all play a role in how your brain regulates dopamine. Remember, your body is not trying to work against you. These natural signals are like gentle reminders to balance stimulation with recovery. So when you think about masturbation after 45, don't frame it as good or bad. Instead, see it as part of a larger rhythm. Your body is giving you feedback about dopamine, motivation, and recovery. By listening to those signals and supporting your brain with the right foods, light, and rest, you transform this private habit into a doorway to deeper health and vitality. When most men think about prostate health, they imagine PSA tests, enlarged prostates, or conversations they'd rather avoid. But here's what's often missed. Your prostate is not just a passive organ, it is an active, living gland that depends on circulation and turnover to stay healthy. And one of the simplest ways that turnover happens is through ejaculation. The prostate produces a significant portion of seminal fluid. When you ejaculate, you're not just releasing sperm, you're flushing the prostate. That release clears out metabolic byproducts, supports fluid renewal, and helps maintain an anti-inflammatory environment inside the gland. Think of it like rinsing out a filter. If the fluid sits stagnant for too long, it can create an environment where inflammation builds up. Research has shown that men with moderate, consistent ejaculation frequencies tend to have better prostate outcomes over time. One well-known study from Harvard found that men who ejaculated around 21 times per month had a lower risk of prostate concerns compared to men who ejaculated less frequently. Now, does this mean more is always better? Not exactly. Like all systems in the body, balance matters more than extremes. As you move beyond 45, your prostate becomes more sensitive to hormonal shifts, inflammation, and circulation. Too much sexual activity, especially when combined with poor nutrition, stress, or lack of sleep, can leave the prostate feeling congested or irritated. On the other hand, too little activity may allow stagnation, which can also contribute to discomfort. The goal is not frequency for its own sake, but frequency that aligns with your body's natural rhythms of energy and recovery. A helpful way to think about this is functional frequency. Instead of chasing numbers, pay attention to how your body feels. Do you notice more pelvic heaviness or incomplete emptying when you go long stretches without release? Do you feel drained when ejaculation is too frequent? These signals are your body's natural way of guiding balance. Beyond frequency, there are simple practices you can adopt to keep the prostate nourished. Hydration is critical. Seminal fluid is water-based, and dehydration can make prostate secretions thicker and harder to clear. Aim for steady water intake throughout the day rather than loading up all at once. Nutrition is equally important. The prostate has a high concentration of zinc, a mineral heavily involved in seminal fluid production and tissue repair. Foods like pumpkin seeds, oysters, lentils, and cashews naturally replenish zinc levels. Pairing them with foods rich in lycopene such as tomatoes and watermelon has also been shown to support prostate resilience by reducing oxidative stress. Circulation is another overlooked piece. Regular movement, whether it's walking, yoga, or pelvic floor exercises, encourages blood flow to the pelvic region, delivering nutrients and clearing waste. For men who spend long hours sitting, this is especially vital. Something as simple as standing every hour or practicing deep belly breathing can improve circulation to the prostate. What's happening in your body is not a mystery, it's physiology. Your prostate thrives when it is used, nourished, and supported. It doesn't need heroic measures, just steady, thoughtful care. So when you think about masturbation and prostate health after 45, see it as more than release. It's part of your gland's natural cleansing cycle. By balancing frequency, staying hydrated, nourishing with zinc and lycopene-rich foods, and keeping blood flowing through movement, you're not just maintaining sexual health, you're protecting longevity. Sleep is one of the most powerful healing forces in your body. It's during deep sleep that your brain clears toxins, your muscles repair, and your hormones reset. But here's a question very few people ask: how does masturbation and specifically ejaculation interact with your sleep cycles and nervous system recovery, especially after 45? When you ejaculate, your nervous system shifts gears. The buildup of arousal activates the sympathetic system, the fight or flight branch, while release activates the parasympathetic system, the rest and digest branch. This is why many men feel calm, relaxed, or even sleepy afterwards. At first glance, it sounds like the perfect sleep aid, but the timing makes all the difference. If you ejaculate very close to bedtime, the initial relaxation may help you fall asleep faster, but research and clinical observation show it can also shorten the time you spend in deep sleep. That's because the surge of dopamine and prolactin that follows ejaculation subtly shifts brain chemistry. For men in their 20s or 30s, this effect is minimal. The body bounces back quickly. But after 45, when your sleep is already lighter and more fragmented, the impact becomes more noticeable. Think of sleep like a symphony. The first half of the night is dominated by deep, slow-wave sleep, when growth hormone is released and tissue repair is at its peak. The second half of the night emphasizes REM sleep, when memory consolidation and brain detoxification happen. If ejaculation happens right before bed, it can reduce the intensity of that first slow-wave phase, leaving you with less repair and more morning fatigue. So what's the protocol? Timing. If you choose to engage in self-pleasure, consider doing so earlier in the evening, at least 90 minutes before bedtime. This gives your nervous system time to settle and allows your sleep cycle to unfold more naturally. By the time you're ready to sleep, your parasympathetic system is balanced, not overstimulated. Another simple adjustment is to combine this practice with good sleep hygiene. Dim the lights in the evening, avoid screens in the last hour, and consider a warm shower or gentle stretching. These habits amplify your body's natural melatonin release, deepening recovery. Nutrients also play a role. Magnesium, found in foods like spinach, pumpkin seeds, and dark chocolate, supports GABA, the brain's calming neurotransmitter. Pairing a magnesium-rich dinner with a balanced frequency of ejaculation helps your nervous system enter deeper sleep cycles. Herbal teas such as chamomile or lemon balm can further support parasympathetic tone without the side effects of sleep medications. Another overlooked piece is breathing. Many men hold tension in the pelvic floor and abdomen without realizing it. Practicing slow diaphragmatic breathing, inhale through the nose, exhale slowly through the mouth, signals to your vagus nerve that it's safe to relax. Doing this before sleep or after sexual release helps guide your body into restorative mode. What's happening in your body is not random, it's deeply intelligent. Ejaculation isn't harmful, but its timing and your lifestyle around it determine whether it supports or disrupts your recovery. When you align with your natural sleep cycles, you wake up with more energy, clearer focus, and stronger resilience. So instead of seeing masturbation as a simple act of relaxation, recognize it as part of your nervous system's delicate rhythm. Space it wisely, time it intelligently, and pair it with nutrient support. When you do, you transform sleep from just rest into your body's nightly repair clinic, leaving you stronger, calmer, and more vibrant as you age. Testosterone often gets blamed or praised for everything in men's health, from energy levels to libido to muscle strength. But here's what most people don't realize. Masturbation and ejaculation interact with testosterone in subtle but important ways, especially after 45. First, let's clear up a common myth. Ejaculation does not permanently drain your testosterone. Your body is far too intelligent and adaptive for that. Studies show that while testosterone can fluctuate after ejaculation, sometimes dipping briefly, sometimes spiking, it quickly resets within a day or two. So if you're worried that self-pleasure is robbing you of your masculinity, that's not how the physiology works. But here's where it gets interesting. Testosterone doesn't work alone. It's part of a larger hormonal orchestra, balancing with cortisol, growth hormone, and dopamine. After 45, testosterone naturally declines at about 1% per year. This doesn't mean you're destined for weakness or fatigue, it just means your margin of error is smaller. The habits you choose now either protect that balance or accelerate the decline. Let's look at muscle recovery. Deep sleep is when testosterone and growth hormones surge, repairing muscle fibers and replenishing energy. If ejaculation happens right before bed, as we discussed earlier, it can disrupt that recovery window. Over time, this may leave you feeling weaker after workouts or slower to recover from physical strain. That doesn't mean masturbation is harmful, it means aligning it with your body's natural rhythms is crucial. Think of testosterone as the fuel and your habits as the engine efficiency. If you burn through fuel without maintaining the engine through poor sleep, excess stress, or nutrient depletion, you'll feel it as fatigue, fogginess, or loss of strength. But when you support the engine, even modest levels of testosterone can give you robust energy. So, what protocols help? One powerful tool is nutrient timing. Your body uses zinc, vitamin D, and omega-3 fats as building blocks for testosterone production. Eating zinc-rich foods like pumpkin seeds, oysters, or cashews in the evening, and ensuring you get sunlight or vitamin D-rich foods during the day keeps your hormone pathways nourished. Pairing healthy fats like olive oil, avocados, or fatty fish with vegetables enhances hormone absorption and stabilizes energy. Another protocol is strength training, even light resistance work. Research shows that lifting weights not only builds muscle, but also signals your body to protect testosterone levels. If you combine that with recovery days and proper protein intake, you amplify the benefits. Stress management also plays a huge role. Cortisol, the stress hormone, directly competes with testosterone. Every time you live in a high stress state, testosterone gets suppressed. Mindful practices, breathing exercises, meditation, or simply a quiet evening walk help keep cortisol in check, giving testosterone room to do its job. Now let's connect this back to masturbation. Ejaculation is not inherently draining, but frequency and context matter. If you notice that frequent release leaves you sluggish or less motivated, it may be because your nervous system and sleep cycle aren't getting the recovery window they need. Adjusting frequency, perhaps every 2 to 3 days instead of daily, can create balance, allowing your body to maintain steady testosterone function and muscle repair. What's happening in your body is a dialogue, not a punishment. Your energy, recovery, and strength are simply reflections of how well you're supporting hormonal balance. By eating nourishing foods, timing your habits intelligently, and respecting your recovery cycles, you give testosterone the best environment to thrive. So instead of fearing that masturbation is lowering your testosterone, see it for what it is, a natural act that, when balanced with proper recovery, nutrition, and exercise, can fit seamlessly into a healthy, energized life. Your body isn't working against you, it's asking for rhythm, respect, and renewal. Most men think of the pelvic floor only when problems arise, like urinary leakage, weak erections, or discomfort. But in truth, the pelvic floor is one of the most important muscle groups in the male body, and it plays a direct role in how masturbation and sexual health feel after 45. The pelvic floor is a hammock of muscles that supports your bladder, rectum, and sexual organs. Every time you experience arousal, erection, and ejaculation, these muscles contract and release in a rhythmic sequence. In your 20s and 30s, the pelvic floor is naturally strong and elastic. But after 45, like any other muscle group, it can weaken if not actively maintained. Why does this matter? Because circulation depends on it. Healthy erections and prostate function require robust blood flow. If pelvic floor muscles are weak, blood can stagnate in the pelvic region, leading to lower erectile firmness, reduced sensitivity, or feelings of heaviness. On the other hand, an overly tense pelvic floor, often caused by stress or sitting for long hours, can restrict blood vessels and nerves, creating discomfort or difficulty achieving full release. Think of the pelvic floor as the foundation of a house. If the foundation weakens or tightens unevenly, the structure above it, your bladder, prostate, and sexual function, loses stability. But here's the good news. Just like you can strengthen your arms or legs, you can train your pelvic floor. One simple protocol is Kegel exercises, but with a twist. Many men overdo Kegels by squeezing without learning to relax, which can make tension worse. The smarter approach is contract and release training. Tighten the pelvic muscles as if you're stopping urine flow, hold for 3 to 5 seconds, then fully relax. Do this 10 times twice a day. Over weeks, it improves circulation and control without creating excess tension. Equally important is movement and posture. Sitting for long hours compresses pelvic blood flow. Simply standing every hour, walking, or practicing hip opening stretches like lunges and squats can restore circulation. Even deep belly breathing, where you allow the diaphragm to expand fully, massages the pelvic floor from above and keeps it responsive. Hydration also matters. Seminal fluid and prostate secretions depend on water balance. Dehydration thickens fluids and makes circulation less efficient. Aim for steady hydration throughout the day and include electrolytes from natural sources like coconut water, cucumbers, or citrus. Nutrition supports this system as well. Foods rich in flavonoids, such as berries, dark chocolate, and green tea, improve blood vessel elasticity. Nitrate-rich vegetables like beets and arugula help release nitric oxide, the molecule that drives erections by dilating blood vessels. Together, these foods feed both your pelvic circulation and your heart health. So how does this connect with masturbation? A strong and balanced pelvic floor ensures better sensation, more complete ejaculation, and healthier recovery. Weak or tight muscles, in contrast, may leave you feeling incomplete, fatigued, or even sore. Paying attention to pelvic health transforms masturbation from a simple release into a tool for circulation and vitality. What's happening in your body is a feedback loop. The more you care for your pelvic floor and blood flow, the more your sexual health supports your overall wellness. And the more you nourish your overall wellness, the more resilient your pelvic floor becomes. So remember this, your pelvic floor is not just about avoiding problems. It's a gateway to better circulation, stronger erections, and a healthier prostate. By combining mindful exercises, daily movement, hydration, and nutrient-rich foods, you give your body the support it needs to keep sexual health vibrant well into your later years. Every time you ejaculate, your body draws upon a complex pool of nutrients to create seminal fluid and support the nervous system. This is not a loss in the sense of damage, but it is a real expenditure, much like running a marathon uses electrolytes and glucose. After 45, when nutrient absorption slows and recovery takes longer, replenishing those building blocks becomes essential to maintain energy, focus, and vitality. Let's start with one of the most important minerals, zinc. The prostate gland contains some of the highest concentrations of zinc in the body, and seminal fluid is rich in this mineral. Zinc supports testosterone production, immune resilience, and DNA repair. Without enough of it, you may feel fatigued, notice weaker immunity, or experience slower recovery. Foods like pumpkin seeds, oysters, cashews, and lentils are powerful sources. And when paired with vitamin C-rich foods like bell peppers or citrus, absorption improves significantly. Another key player is magnesium. This mineral is required for over 300 enzymatic reactions, including those that calm the nervous system and relax muscles. Magnesium is also crucial for sleep quality, which, as we've discussed, is the foundation of repair. Unfortunately, modern diets often leave people deficient. Incorporating spinach, almonds, avocado, or even a small square of dark chocolate in the evening can help restore balance and ease recovery after ejaculation. We also need to talk about B vitamins, especially B6 and B12. These vitamins are cofactors in neurotransmitter production, including dopamine and serotonin. After release, when dopamine levels shift, your body leans on these nutrients to reset brain chemistry. Whole grains, eggs, and leafy greens provide steady B vitamin support, while B12, most abundant in fish, eggs, and dairy, directly fuels nervous system repair. Then there's selenium, a trace mineral that often flies under the radar. Just a few Brazil nuts can provide your daily requirement, and this mineral plays a unique role in sperm production and antioxidant defense. For men over 45, selenium also protects mitochondria, the tiny powerhouses in your cells that produce energy. Hydration is equally vital. Seminal fluid is mostly water, so every ejaculation requires fluid balance. Chronic mild dehydration can make recovery sluggish, increase fatigue, and strain the prostate. Aim to sip water steadily during the day instead of gulping large amounts at once. Adding mineral-rich foods like cucumbers, celery, and coconut water further supports electrolyte balance. Here's the deeper truth. Your body is designed to heal itself, but it can only work with the materials you provide. Ejaculation is a natural, healthy process, but it calls on zinc, magnesium, selenium, and B vitamins. If you replenish those nutrients consistently, your body recovers smoothly. If not, over time you may notice fatigue, fogginess, or reduced vitality. So what are some simple, actionable protocols? Add a handful of pumpkin seeds or almonds to your evening routine for zinc and magnesium. Include leafy greens at dinner. Spinach or arugula provide magnesium nitrates for circulation and antioxidants. Keep 2 to 3 Brazil nuts in your kitchen for selenium. Hydrate through the day and finish your evening with a glass of water infused with cucumber or lemon for electrolytes. These aren't drastic changes, they're gentle alignments with how your body naturally restores itself. So instead of seeing masturbation as something that depletes you, see it as a signal to nourish yourself. By replenishing key minerals, supporting hydration, and timing your nutrients wisely, you allow your cells to repair, your hormones to balance, and your nervous system to thrive. This is how you move from depletion to renewal by working with your body's innate intelligence. We've covered a lot of ground in this discussion, but the message underneath it all is simple. Your body is not working against you, it is working with you. Masturbation after 45 is not good or bad in isolation. It's part of a larger conversation between your hormones, your nervous system, your prostate, your muscles, and your nutrition. When you understand that conversation, you can support it, and when you support it, you thrive. Let's briefly recap the key insights. We began by exploring dopamine balance, learning that your brain is more sensitive after 45. Frequent stimulation without recovery can flatten motivation, but when you give dopamine the rhythm it needs, with rest, sunlight, and nutrient support, you protect both mood and energy. Next, we talked about the prostate, that small but powerful gland that depends on fluid turnover for health. Moderate, balanced ejaculation helps clear inflammation, but extremes, too much or too little, can create strain. Hydration, zinc, and circulation are the allies your prostate is waiting for. From there, we looked at sleep and nervous system recovery. Ejaculation before bed can disrupt deep sleep, especially as sleep naturally becomes lighter with age. But by aligning timing earlier in the evening and creating calming rituals with magnesium, breathing, and reduced screen time, you restore your body's nightly repair cycles. We also unpacked testosterone and energy, reminding ourselves that ejaculation doesn't permanently lower testosterone. Instead, your lifestyle, stress levels, and nutrient intake set the stage for how testosterone functions. Strength training, balanced nutrition, and recovery rhythms allow your body to preserve vitality even as natural decline occurs. Equally important is the pelvic floor, the muscular foundation of your sexual health. Strong, responsive pelvic muscles improve circulation, erection quality, and bladder control. Simple routines of contract and release training combined with daily movement and hydration keep this system resilient for decades. Finally, we dove into nutrition and cellular repair because ejaculation draws on zinc, magnesium, selenium, and B vitamins. When you replenish these building blocks with pumpkin seeds, leafy greens, Brazil nuts, and steady hydration, you transform recovery from fatigue into renewal. Taken together, these 6 areas give you a roadmap. Instead of treating masturbation as a source of guilt or confusion, you can see it as a feedback loop. If you feel energized and calm, your habits are aligned. If you feel sluggish or depleted, your body is asking for adjustment, more rest, more nutrients, or better timing. So here sits a simple challenge for you. Tonight, add one zinc-rich food, pumpkin seeds, cashews, or lentils to your dinner. Dim your lights 90 minutes before bed, put your phone aside, and give yourself the gift of real darkness. Tomorrow morning, spend 10 minutes outside in natural light before checking your phone or email. Then pay attention. Notice how your energy feels. Notice whether your motivation is sharper, your body calmer, your sleep deeper. Small changes reveal just how intelligent your body truly is. Your health is not about fighting time, it's about aligning with physiology, supporting dopamine balance, prostate flow, sleep cycles, hormone recovery, circulation, and nutrient repair. These systems were designed to heal you, to energize you, and to keep you vital long past 45. If you found this helpful, let us know in the comments what will you try first. And don't forget to subscribe and join this journey of natural healing and healthy aging. Your body is ready, you just need to give it what it needs.